How's it going, Game Warrior? You feeling okay? Oh, that's good. You're about ready to start winding down, aren't you, for the winter? Yeah, that's what I thought. So am I. So we're in the same boat. Uh, Maybe when we're both off, we can get together more on here and have some chit chats and work on some stuff for the winter months. I'm looking forward to that. I think I got a month and a half, maybe at the most. And right now, the weather is like fall out there. It's in the 60s, sweater weather. It's hard to believe it. We just went from 100 to like 50. We dropped 50 degrees in a week. That's Michigan for you. That's what we always say. It's Michigan. But we're having a weird phenomenon up here. We have a lot of deer up here in the north. And all of a sudden, I'm seeing deer in the daytime, like just out walking around in people's yards. And deer normally hide during the day and they come out at night. And other people have commented on that it's like a weird phenomenon. Like they don't, it's not normal. And recently we were on a walk, and a guy was and a girl were in a truck, and they were looking for a husky. I guess a deer came in the yard during the day, and then the dog chased it out, and they were looking for it. And I'm like, this is weird. I'm seeing deer just like going down a neighborhood road, and there's deer just walking around, yards in the daytime. Like something is weird. And when you start to observe animals, like I've always been an animal person, as you could tell, but I've always been into like I should have been like, there you go. Ask that deer. Hey deer, what's up? No, it's like DNR or like a park ranger. That would have been a good field for me had I not been called into the ministry, because I love that kind of stuff, and I'm like good at tracking and stuff. But animals are a good indicator of something that's going on. Like birds they'll call out. Whenever I go into the anywhere now, we have Canadian geese up here. They're like, you know what Canadian geese are? They're giant birds, and you get like 50 of them, and they'll just be like in the middle of the park. And well, they're scared of coyotes, and so my dog kind of looks like a coyote. So whenever we go in the field, that they start doing that honking, where they do that honking, the geese, and they start doing that really loud. And what they're doing is they're communicating to everyone in that group that danger has. I guess they're terrified of my dog, but it gets rid of them. And they're a nuisance because they poop all over everything. And so it's actually at our beach down at the end of the street, they actually put these fake coyotes, like plastic coyotes, up to kind of ward them off, because they poop all over the beach and they're a nuisance. And anyway, but birds are very much um, aware of changes in the weather, changes in the environment, and something is going on, because deer are nocturnal. They're not nocturnal, but they're afraid to come out around people. They used to be. Now that could just be that people are feeding them more now, and that people have become more friendly with the deer, and so they're becoming tame, which is probably what it is. But it's a dangerous thing, because they get hit by cars. And the other day, I went, and I was just turning around. I was going to a house to do a job, and I turned it down the street, and I look, and there's 3 deer. Just, walking down the street. And then about a month ago, I was coming through a neighborhood, and it was a real nice neighborhood, big houses, expensive homes, nicely manicured yards, and there was a whole bunch of deer just walking around eating. It's just you don't normally see that, is what I'm saying. So it's kind of weird. But anyway, I don't know what that means. But ask that deer to tell me, why are you running around during the day? Tell me why. No, I'd really like to find out. Maybe I should research that and see what the DNR says. But today I had a lot of things to do. But one of the things I did is I went on my website. I haven't been on there in a while. I don't really. It's really stupid because it's not my website, but me, because I don't go on there more. And I have a pretty cool website. I like it. Everybody tries to tell me I need to update it and blah blah blah, but I don't know. I get a lot of hits to it. So I go on my website today and I got 75 subscribers and contacts from Google on my website. Now that's not a lot, compared to some people, but so I'm like, all right, these were people that had questions. Now these were not just people that were like, oh, I'm just going to subscribe. These were people that wanted my services. Now maybe some of them actually texted and called me and they were the ones that I went out and did. I don't know. But all I know is that all of a sudden I'm in my website and I see an option to create an email campaign based on the contacts that are on my Wix site. This is all through Wix. So I'm like, cool. I go on AI and AI creates me this awesome, in like 5 minutes, this awesome, contact Roadrunner mower car wash for a fall special. And it has pictures. It has a button people click and they can call or text me. It's all because they get all the information from my website. So I created this campaign in like 5 minutes and I sent it out to all the contacts. So it's going out right now. It's an email campaign. And if I got one job from that, it's free. It doesn't cost me anything. And just imagine all those are contacts now that I have in my email server forever. They're an actual contact. Now, these are people that may, like I said, I don't know, they may have already, they may have, went through the email process, but then called or texted me, and then they, I was able to get the job. But my website is making me money. So I went in there and I put some changes / summer. Now it's a fall sale, and I did all that stuff today. That's good because now when people come in, they're going to ask for the 30% off sale, which is basically everything's the same price. I mean, it's just a way of getting people to. I mean, they're getting a good deal, so it's not like I'm lying. But is it a 30% off sale? Yeah, I guess it is. It's whatever I want it to be. You know what I mean? It's like my sale. I'll do whatever I want. No, but anyway, I'm really happy with that and realizing that there are tools out there besides, and if you learn, it took me a year, or not a year, it took me a whole season to figure it out, but I didn't know anything. When I started, I wasn't even using ads. I was just, word of mouth trying to get jobs. It wasn't until I started, using Yelp, and then Yelp was producing for me a little bit, and then when I got on Google Ads, it just blew up. But anyway, I had to learn how to use it. So I'm just kind of hoping I can get through the season now doing more. Like Saturday, I got a return job. Somebody called me back. It's actually the second one I've had because another guy called me back, and I'm creating a. This is my thing I'm doing tomorrow. I'm telling you, I'm learning so much. If anything, I'm learning stuff, so that's good. But I'm gonna do a text ad campaign, which means instead of like doing it on Facebook or whatever, I'm texting and I'm gonna put all the phone numbers into a queue that I have, like 100 phone numbers of people that have, just everybody. If they've had their car done by me, they're going to get it, the text. And the text is going to be an AI generated, I'm going to use AI again for this, an AI generated text fall special, winter special. Well, fall special, get rid of summer, get ready for winter, that kind of thing. And it's going to go out. And now I know I'm going to get some business from this. I may not get all 100, but I know I'm going to get quite a few jobs, and that's going to be how I'm going to finish my year out. And those are free. I don't pay for those. That's not Google generated ad. That's you know what. Oh, yeah, you're right there. No, I mean, I don't know. I'm doing this through. I'm doing it to a service, so I will look. I'm glad you said something, but I'm pretty sure they parse the numbers when they send them out, so they're not in a group. I think that would be automatic in the campaign, but I will check that out. That's a very good. I mean, you're very right. I mean, that could have been pretty dangerous. You know, everybody's in the same group text, and it's like, oh boy, I don't want to see that. So yeah, I will make sure, but otherwise, you know, it'll just be manually. But it really won't take that long if I do it one at a time, because all I'm doing is sending the same thing over and over, clicking a button, boom, gone. You know, that's it. So, but anyway. So there are some good uses for AI. We talked about AI a lot in the last couple of weeks, and then now I'm watching news shows that are talking about how we have to be careful, especially with kids. They did a statistic, and I just watched it. It's like 90% of the information that AI bots are giving kids are bad, detrimental. How to handle bots telling kids if they're depressed, just stay in your room, don't talk to anyone. I mean, that kind of nonsense. It's like who's programming this stuff? Like I said, you get the wrong people programming these bots, and you're going to have trouble. But anyway, the statistic was pretty bad, and there's some real concern now amongst educators and leaders, especially with youth, of what AI is telling them. The AI got sued. I don't know if it's AI or if it's Open AI or whatever that is. That company. They got sued because somebody committed suicide based on that bot's recommendation. It's really tragic how bad that can be, you know. But if you're using it like I am to make an ad, it's awesome, because what would take me an hour, I did it in 5 minutes, and it was professional, looked great. I mean, I was trying to copy it somehow so I could use it, but you know, of course AI is smart enough not to allow it to be copied, so you have to use it on Wix. It only works with the email. I was trying to copy it and use it somewhere, and there was no way to do it. I mean, it literally was like, no, you're not going to do that. Oh, why? It's my property. No, it belongs to Wix. No, it belongs to me. I'm fighting with AI. But all I got to do is go to my Gemini. You know, Gemini is what? I think that's the Microsoft. I think, is Gemini Microsoft or what is that? Okay, it's not Gemini then. It's whatever Microsoft's is. I mean, it's like I Copilot. Copilot. Yeah. Copilot. I like Copilot better than Gemini, but they're both pretty good. But you can go to Copilot and just literally tell it what you want, and it will do it. In fact, you could just give it the website. Can you make me a texting advertisement based on my website? And it will actually pull up the sale that I already have on my website with the pictures and everything. That's how smart it is. And it just saves me time. Now that stuff, to me, is just like using a computer. It's not a problem. I don't have a problem with that. It's when you're getting into asking open-ended questions to a bot that's being programmed by somebody on the other end that isn't, thinking about how it's going to affect the other person, like especially a young person that's seeking advice from an AI bot, and they're getting told that suicide's okay and kill yourself and this kind of stuff. Why would that even be coming out of a bot? I mean, it's just crazy. But that's why you got to be careful. But using it to help you with research or even homework, as long as you're not cheating, it's fine. You know what I mean? It has its uses, but you got to be careful with it. Hey Blake, how you doing? So I find that it has its use, but there's some really interesting podcast shows, whatever, right now where they're starting to find out it's like you have a computer program and it's in beta. It's in a beta state where it's being tested out to see how it works. Well, AI is the same way. Unfortunately, it can be pretty bad. And it can also give misinformation, or it will give political answers, politically persuaded answers. I found that out as well. But the thing that gets me the most is when you ask it biblical questions, different AI, it will actually, well, I'll give you the example, is I looked up Hamas, the original, the word Hamas is in the Hebrew, it's the Hebrew, Hamas is the actual Hebrew or Aramaic word for violence. That's literally where it comes from, and it comes from the book of Genesis. It comes from the book of Genesis, and it's talking about the violence that was in Sodom and Gomorrah, the violence that was on the world when God destroyed it and created Noah's Ark and all of that. The word violence there is Hamas. And I asked AI, and AI brought up, but it brought up an opinion. It didn't bring up the Aramaic or the Hebrew word. It did reference a scripture, and that was where Hamas came from. But then it gave an opinion based on whether or not it accurately depicts the group Hamas, which is a complete changing of the answer to the question I asked. It was a complete spin job, a Schmingali. It's a Svengali of all of it. But see, that's what you got to be careful of. And when you start getting deeper into asking it theological questions, or you're going to get more and more and more convoluted answers from AI, because one of the things is, and I don't know how much you guys have studied theology or the Bible, or in any kind of in-depth way, where you're using, I used to use textbooks, and I have books all over, but now I use a lot of digital research because it's easier, and I like to use searches, Google search before AI, which is pretty new really in the last 2 years. AI starts popping up in all of the search engines. Really maybe 3 years it's really taken on speed. But anyway, when you get into it and you start asking theological questions, things that I know pretty well because I studied them for years and years, it's amazing how many, because theology is in and of itself has varied answers for the various questions. Like, you could ask a question about, should you eat meat? And you would get 5 or 6 different answers depending on your persuasion, depending on what, if you're Seventh-day Adventist, you might say, no, I'm not going to eat meat. I'm a vegetarian. And that's a spiritual thing for them, their diet and whatnot. But it has nothing to do with the Bible. It's so, you might get 7 or 8 answers on that one question, but that's just because religion has so many different contradictions to it. I mean, but that's the religion part of it. That's the religious studies part of it. But when you just are a Christian and you're looking at the Bible for your daily food, like Jesus said, what did he say? Every word that proceeds out of the mouth of God, the daily bread, that's feeding your spirit. And feeding your spirit leads to spiritual growth. You're not really, it's not that it's theology, even though theology just simply means the knowledge of God. Theology means the knowledge of God. But knowledge of God, what is that? Okay, that's many different things to many people. So of course AI is going to be conflicted on some of it. If you ask AI who Jesus Christ is, it's going to give you an opinion based on the Christian belief system. It's going to say, well, Christians believe Jesus Christ is the Messiah, the Son of God. But Jewish people do not hold to that. They don't believe he is the Messiah. And it's going to give you a convoluted answer to that. When you're a Christian, you're not looking for that. You're looking for truth. You're looking for, I just want to know Jesus and fellowship with him and have a relationship with him. I don't care. I know that Jews don't hold to him as the Messiah. I know they don't believe he's God. They believe he was, I question a lot of Jewish people because I've debated Jewish people for years, and I always ask them the question, well, who do you think Jesus was? Because do you believe he existed in history even? Because they go so far to deny him that a lot of times they just deny that he even existed. And I'm like, well, then why do we have a whole history of him? Why do we have BC, before Christ, and AD, after death, the Roman time system, if there's no Jesus Christ? I mean, he changed the whole world, the culture of the world. Everything in the world revolves around that knowledge, yet you say he doesn't exist. Or if he does exist, you say he was a blasphemer, right? That's what they accused him of being a blasphemer, because he said he was God. So they accused him of blasphemy, which means a betrayer, an imposter. So they said he's an imposter. He's not who he says he is. So that's how they settle that question of Jesus. They just deny that he was just a, but they have no answer for the miracles. They have no answer for the same God that parted the Red Sea, that caused the plagues, that did the miracles that he did in Egypt, in Israel, in the desert, is the same God that was doing miracles through his Son on earth. And so they deny that. So what I'm trying to say in a roundabout way is that AI, it's not going to be very good for people that are studying the Bible, because it's not going to give you exact answers that you're looking for. It's going to give you watered down, convoluted answers. If you want to study the Bible and you want to use AI, I would recommend using a Bible website that has developed their own AI, like Bible Gateway. You want to study the Bible online, you want to get direct answers to your questions, you want to get a more Christian. Okay, Blake, God bless you. If you want to get a more Christian answer to your question, Bible Gateway. Does that make sense, what I just said? I think it does. I think it makes a lot of sense. Because again, AI is just a programming language. That's being trained by whoever's programming it. That's like that rabbit computer thing that was like the size of a phone, and it's weird because it was rabbit and it was orange, because you remember the rabbit website was orange, but it had nothing to do with that chat. But it was orange, and it looked like it was retro. It looked like a Game Boy or something like that. And it was like this AI computer that you programmed it. You trained it. So I was going to get one. I actually I was going to order one. And I think I did. You know what? I think I ordered it, but because it's at the time that they were like 3 months behind sending it, I canceled it. But now you can get it on Amazon, and it's cheaper. But you can program that any way you want it. You train it. So you could put a Bible commentary in it. You could put apps in it, and so you could have Bible Gateway. You could make it your own little Bible app, and that thing was cool. And it also was a phone, but it had like 3G. It was like a really horrible, like 1990. It was a retro-looking thing that had a retro, I don't even think it would work. But but they probably upgraded it now so that it actually has more of a 5G type system. But anyway, I loved it, and I would probably eventually I might get one, because I think it would be so cool to have that. And the way that it played videos and voice commands everything, and you just say play, it's got like its own Siri built into it. But the way that it plays it has it's like a game, but it had a big screen, so the whole video screen, it was bigger than a phone, but it would just play like anything you commanded it to play. And I watched the whole thing, and I didn't even want to buy it until after they launched it, I think in January of 2022. It was a big deal. It was in New York City. It was a big deal. They had all these celebrities there. Everybody wanted one, and then it got really bad reviews. Like the first year, it was like everybody hated it. It was the guy was on video. He was doing like the opening night. He was trying to. He was like, "Well, I hope everything works," and he's giving the commands, and it's doing what he says. Everything's working fine. And then once people got it, they're like, well, it doesn't sync up right. It's got all these problems. Right. It's like but after a year, they got all the bugs out. Now it's great. I mean, it won this year. I think it's been out 4 years or 3 years. but it won like awards this year. So if you wanted to get one, you could get one now for like around $150, which is cheap because it is a bona fide computer. I mean, it's not going to have a lot of memory, it's not going to have a lot of gigs, but for like it's better than a phone. And I mean, I like it. I would love to have one because it's cool looking. I like retro things. I do. I guess that takes me back, you know. But I like stuff like that. But what's cool about it is you could have like a whole encyclopedia of the Bible on there. Yeah, like that. Like George Costanza. Georgie boy, Georgie. That's his mother. She used to call him Georgie. Oh, Georgie boy. But, you know, if you're going to get, do I remember? I lived that era. I don't know how many times I'd go to a payphone. I didn't have any change. Couldn't put cash in it. So you'd have to call collect. And you'd actually get an operator. You could press 0. This is how old I am. You could press 0 and a live operator would come on the phone, paid person, and they would transfer your call. Yeah, they would make the call to whoever you wanted, and then that person would have to accept the charges to their home phone, and then you could talk to them. And I did that so many times. And I'd say, thanks, you know, I'll pay you for the call. Oh, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. But that's how, you know, you could, and then you had to worry that somebody didn't put gum in the receiver and you put your ear. I used to do that at college. Oh, you'd always have to check the phone because some smart aleck would put gum in the phone. Yeah. Or what's really bad is if you really needed to make a call and you go to the phone and somebody's jammed it up with coins and you couldn't use it. And you'd have to go to find another phone. And if you were like, you know, really needing to talk to somebody, it could be like, you could lose a deal. I was in sales for years in another life. And I used to live on payphones because I didn't have cell phones. This was before cell phones. And I would be out on a sales call, and I would have to call a customer, I'd have to call the office, and you'd have to go to a payphone. Now, if you were smart and you were in a city, you could go to a hotel, and they would have a phone sitting there in the lobby, and you'd say, is that all right? What's the matter, buddy? You okay? They would say, oh, sure, you can use the phone, and you could use a hotel phone or something like that. But, yeah, those were the days, man. The greatest invention in modern history was the cellular phone. Because you guys never, maybe you did, maybe you didn't, but I don't think either of you experienced the pain of using a cell phone. Now, the only good thing about a cell phone was if you were like a drug dealer or somebody evil, you could use a cell phone and it wasn't traceable. And to this day, the mob, you know, and you know, you've seen mob movies, they always use cell phones. It was like a burner phone. You could use it and they could only trace it to the phone booth, but they didn't know who made the call. So, but the other good thing about it, if you had the phone booth like the one here, now George is not in a phone booth there, is he? No. The big phone booth where you could close the door. If it was raining, you could talk on the phone, and that was cool. And we used to have those where you could shut the door and you know, sit there and talk. But I mean, growing up, we had, my mom and dad had a phone in their bedroom, and then we had a phone in the living room and a phone in the kitchen. We had 3 phones, and then the big deal was when my sister got her own phone in her room, and these were all landlines, right? So they were like expensive. I mean, probably like $40 a line, and that was probably like, $400 now. So, no, I don't know. It wasn't that much. But it was a lot of money. And, well, I think sometimes you got a deal, though, with the phone company. But you would have, your phone, and you could get it, you've seen commercials for old phones, like different colors, and they had Spider-Man, whatever, Batman phones, the whole... You okay? What's the matter? Huh? You alright? What you mad at? You alright, buddy? Well, let's see, what can I give you? Well, I guess I can give you some of these. You want some of these? I don't know if you just... You alright? You're good, my new bone. I hope you're doing that. Ooh, these stink. My goodness. Wow, those are beef jerky in a bag. It smells like poop. I wouldn't recommend it. But if it smells like poop, he'll love it. So, yeah, that's good for him. I gave him this new bone I bought at the dollar store. It was supposed to last a long time. He ate it in like 2 minutes. And I'm worried about him because, sometimes those bones you get, they don't sell things to dogs that aren't digestible. They would get sued. So it's not like I worry too much, but I did get a credit card called Care Credit. I think I got like $2,000 on it in case something ever happens to him, because I know he's a husky and at some point he's going to have to go somewhere and get some help. You just know that. Huskies are smart. Like, I can take him out on a walk and he knows exactly where we are. He picks the routes that we go on. He knows if I'm cutting the route short, he'll pull against me. He's like, you ain't shortchanging me, buddy. He makes me walk the whole route. And he knows. He knows. They're smart when it comes to that, but they're dumb where, like, they'll eat a battery or something. And then you're like, oh, God, we got to go down. You got to have that battery taken out before it kills you. So when it comes to that, they're dumb. You all right? What's the matter? Huh? What's the matter? Are you okay? You all right? You got You just bored? You want my attention? It's weird because the weather's gotten cooler and he likes to be outside now. He'll stay outside all day, which I don't mind, because I can get stuff done. But I hardly see him during the day, and then at night, like right now, is when we start to hang out, and he's obviously, that's why he barks when I come online, because now he wants my attention, see? And this is also the time of night. He's a weird dog. He doesn't eat in the morning like most dogs. He eats at night. I know. He eats at night. I don't know why. He's just always has done that. I guess because I eat snacks at night, so I think he thinks it's his time to eat. But anyway, it's a little bit crazy with him. You're not getting any more food. You need to What? You need to go outside? You want to go outside? Come on. I guess there is a couple more things you can have. There you go. Yeah, just to let you know, I dem- I demoted shut up. I demoted Zane from being a moderator because he was changing things in the server without checking with me, and he changed the Ask the Pastor server to questions, and I mean that is a big no-no. So I'm going to talk to him about the responsibilities that he has to you, Diligent, and me. And if he wants to be on as a moderator, then he's going to have to, ask us before he does anything. I'm not going to have somebody on here. I don't care if he's 13 or 30. You don't come into somebody's server and start changing everything around. Just like when he came in on that one night and was taking over the whole service. I mean, it was a Tuesday night. It was a night that we've been doing something for years. And he just comes in, and I know he's 13, and I give him a lot of, leeway, and I don't want to, crush his spirit. I'm not going to get mad at him, but just the point being that, he has servers. He should know better than that. You don't just come into somebody's server and start changing everything around. I mean, if you got ideas, you share them. Maybe he did, but he never shared anything with me, because I never would have had him change that. I mean, that's a channel that I was very happy with that channel. We were seeing questions come in, and I believe it's going to be a key to our growth on here as a ministry. And I think I may have even mentioned that when he was within hearing distance. So I don't know why he would do it, but at any rate, he's not able to do it anymore. And he, I don't, believe me, I mean, I like that dog. That lady goes, you know what? That would be me with my dog. Except he does, like, he'll run with. I have a like that expandable. I have one of those. I use it at the big park. And man, he will run and twist. And he twisted my back yesterday, chasing a bunny rabbit. It's another thing we have around here in abundance is rabbits. And rabbits are the dumbest creatures, I think. I thought sheep were dumb. Rabbits are dumber. They will sit still and act like they're frozen. And I think they think in their head is like, well, if I'm still, then I'm not here. And my dog would just like stop and look at it, and then he's like, okay, that's actually there. I see it. And then he'll go after it, and as soon as he starts running, the thing gets up and jumps away. Yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous. They think that I guess that's a defense mechanism. Make themselves invisible somehow, but the problem is they never actually go invisible. But anyway, he jerked my back, and this morning, I don't know, I must have been having pain in the night sleeping, because when I woke up, man, I could hardly walk. My sciatica nerve was bad. And I prayed. I said, Lord, heal my back. And I mean, God, I must have a line to heaven for healing, because I mean, as soon as I prayed, I started feeling better. You need a butt whipping? Come on. Let's go. Come on. Let's go. Well, as you can see, it didn't work. He never got up. He's still there. It's on. I say this is him. This is him right now. He's having the time of his life. See, my mom, she had dementia, and she never liked. Her dementia was triggered by him. I used to tell you guys that, but she would yell at him when he would get on the couch. She would go, "You stoop! What's the matter with you? What kind of dummy are you?" She would yell at him. My mom didn't talk like that, but man, she would almost be cussing at him to get off the couch. My grandma made that couch for me. And I'm like, no, she made the blanket on it. She didn't make the couch. And he would do this thing where he would bark at her, he would yap at her, and she would yell at him, and they would be doing this all day. Just like that. And so for old time's sake, yesterday he was on the couch and I started yelling at him. I'm like, "Get off that couch, you stoop." And he looked at me, and I think he remembered it, and he started barking. He started barking at me. He was like thinking that, did you remember Grandma? Yeah. But when she died, after she died, he never laid out in that. We have like a pit that goes out and then up. Stairs that go up and out. And like a porch area. He laid in that porch for a week after she died, and that's what wolves do when they mourn. They mourn a loss of someone in the pack. And so he liked my mom. My mom just didn't like him. But it was kind of funny, and we laughed about it in the family because they could sometimes they would hear, like, my sister was over or something, they would hear my mom arguing with him. Just be like, that was when she was like really cognitive. It was like she was almost cognitive. Like, you remember that? I think that's just like him saying, "Hey, I know you're on talking to somebody on the computer. Now I'm going to just bug you." But anyway, I'm not sure if we've had too much activity this week in the chat. I looked a little bit. It seems like we might have some activity. But one of the things that we need to really amp up is our follow-up communication with people, because, okay, that's awesome. We need to really start, messaging these people one-on-one, individual messaging. We should have a generic thing that goes out to everybody. Do we have that yet? We used to have something like that. But we need to, because the more that we can connect with people right away and make them feel welcome, the more they're going to want to be a part of our server, and that's how we're going to grow. But if we don't, then we're going to just get a lot of people joining, and they're not going to. Shut up. Stop. What is the matter with you? Stop. I tried to get you to go outside, but you didn't want to go. What's the matter? What's the matter? Are you bored? Are you bored? I'll be gone in a minute. Okay? Yeah, he's in his. I'm gonna have to go. He's in a high anxiety mode. He wants to play. He's not gonna be content. Hey, he looks just like my dog. Alright, guys. Well, let's just try to get together tomorrow. I'll try to get him. I'll try to get him outside tomorrow so we can chat. Alright. See you tomorrow. Have a happy Friday. Friday! God bless. Man, you